Okay, let's just be real for a second. Trying to become a doctor in Germany when you're coming from abroad, it's incredibly challenging.
Oh, absolutely.
It's this whole journey packed with exams and permits, language tests, and honestly, there are definitely moments where you just feel stuck or, exhausted, wondering if you're even making any progress.
That feeling, that's pretty much universal for anyone taking on something this big. It's way more than just learning stuff or passing tests. It's a real personal challenge, a test of endurance, really.
And that's precisely why we're digging into this today. It's a really critical topic, pulled straight from the ArztWerden system by Dr. Esam Shahlol. The material we're looking at today is all about staying motivated, how to actually finish this incredibly demanding journey.
Right. So our goal here, our mission for this deep dive, is to pull out the useful bits, the actionable stuff from this lesson. Practical tips to help you build up that resilience you need for, well, the source calls it a marathon.
Yeah, it really emphasizes that.
Definitely not a sprint.
Okay, let's unpack that first big idea then. The marathon mindset. The source material really drives this home. Getting your approbation, your license to practice medicine here. It's tough. It demands a lot.
It does.
You're just not going to wake up every single day feeling ready to conquer the world. That's not realistic.
Exactly. And feeling tired, having doubts, looking at the whole path ahead, and feeling, frankly, overwhelmed by how far away the finish line seems. That's not just okay. It's completely normal.
Right.
That feeling of being stuck, like you're not moving forward, that's part of it for pretty much everyone on a long journey like this one.
So the point isn't to pretend you're some kind of robot who never flags or that you won't ever stumble. The source really highlights that success here isn't about, never falling down.
No.
It's about the commitment, the absolute grit, to always get back up when you do fall.
Right. Think about it. A sprint. That's just flat-out effort for a short time. This needs pacing. It needs strategy. And crucially, it needs that ability to just keep going, keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when you feel like you've got nothing left.
Endurance, patience, persistence.
Those are your key muscles here, definitely.
So what powers that kind of long-term endurance? The source points straight towards figuring out your deepest motivation, your personal why.
Ah, yes, the why. This is where it gets really foundational, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That question you probably asked yourself way back when you started, why am I doing this? The source insists this isn't just, some nice philosophical idea. It's literally your most powerful fuel for this whole marathon.
And the source gives some solid examples of what that why could be for international doctors. Maybe it's that really deep desire to help patients here in the system.
Or maybe it's about giving your family a better future, a more stable life. Could be just a pure, unwavering passion for medicine itself.
Or that specific dream, right? Professional fulfillment, building your life in Germany.
Whatever it is for you.
And the instruction from the source, it's simple. Almost sounds too simple. Write it down.
Make it concrete.
Yeah, tangible.
And then this is critical. You need to actively remind yourself of it. Often. The source really stresses looking at it again, especially when things get tough, when you hit those difficult patches. Keeping that core reason right there in your conscious mind. That's what refills your tank when your immediate energy just runs out. It's like an anchor, when those waves of doubt start crashing over you.
Okay, but even with a strong why, that huge goal, getting the approbation, it can still feel like this impossibly far-off mountain peak. How do you keep moving when the summit just seems so distant?
Right. That's where the practical tactics come in. The source really pushes for breaking the whole thing down into smaller, much more manageable stages, little steps.
So instead of just staring up at get approbation on your wall, you focus on setting realistic goals, maybe weekly goals, or even daily things using the course material.
Precisely. Bite-sized chunks. And this leads straight into something else the source says is absolutely critical.
Which is?
Celebrating your successes. And they mean any success, no matter how small it might feel in the grand scheme of things.
Celebrating something small when the end goal is so huge, doesn't that feel a bit, counterintuitive? Like maybe you're not focused enough on the big prize?
The source actually argues the complete opposite. These small wins, they're vital. They build momentum. They give you real, tangible proof that you are moving forward, even if it feels slow sometimes. Did you finally wrap your head around a tricky grammar point? Celebrate it. Did you nail an exercise that had you totally stumped before?
Celebrate it.
Yeah. Did you push yourself? Maybe ask a question in the course form, even though it felt uncomfortable? That's a win. Acknowledge it.
And the source even suggests practical ways, doesn't it? Like little rewards.
Yeah, really simple things. Taking a cozy evening just for yourself, meeting up with friends, making your favorite meal. It's about consciously marking the effort and the progress.
Okay, that makes sense.
These deliberate actions, they're how you stop your motivation tank from hitting empty. They're like little mile markers on your marathon route, showing you how far you've actually come. And that fuels you for the next leg.
Of course, like any marathon, this journey isn't going to be perfectly smooth sailing, is it? The source is pretty upfront about dealing with setbacks and stress.
Oh, yeah. Obstacles aren't a sign you're messing up. They're just expected. They're part of the process. Failing in exercise, getting some unexpected letter from an authority, or just having a day where you feel totally, utterly overwhelmed.
It's going to happen.
It will happen.
And the source acknowledges, look, it's totally fine to feel frustrated or disappointed when that stuff happens.
Absolutely. Feel the feeling. The key thing, though, the distinction the source makes is feel it, yes, but don't get stuck there.
Right. Don't set up camp in disappointment land.
Exactly. Don't let it become your default setting.
So what are the strategies then? What does the source recommend for actually navigating those rough patches?
Okay, first, analyze. Take a beat. Try to understand what actually happened. What can you learn from this? Don't just react purely on emotion. Use your problem-solving brain.
Okay, makes sense. What else?
Second, seek support. Talk to people you trust, friends, family, or connect with the course community. The source points out that old saying, a problem shared is a problem halved. Getting an outside perspective, just that emotional connection, it's a massive buffer against stress.
Okay. Analyze, seek support. What's third?
Third, and maybe this is the hardest one for a lot of people, especially high achievers, be kind to yourself. The source really emphasizes this. Recognize that nobody's perfect. Mistakes are genuinely chances to learn, not, proof that you're not capable.
That's a tough one sometimes.
It really is. And fourth, ensure balance. This brings us back to the marathon idea again. You just cannot perform at your best long term if you're always running on empty.
Right.
Taking breaks, doing things that recharge you, sports, hobbies, just relaxing the source, frames this as non-negotiable. It's essential maintenance for your performance, for your well-being.
It's not a luxury, it's part of the strategy.
Exactly. Self-care isn't the reward you get after you finish. It's the fuel you need during the race.
Now, shifting the focus back to the individual doctor going through this, the source has a really powerful message here. It says, while the course is a tool, a support system, you are the most important person on this entire journey.
Yeah, it's a strong push to really cultivate belief in yourself and your own abilities, and it connects that belief to reality, reminding you of everything you've already overcome just to get to this point.
You've already climbed some pretty big hills.
For sure. You have.
And the lesson reinforces this confidence, saying, look, with the structure and the knowledge the system gives you, plus your own perseverance and the support available, you are equipped to handle what comes next.
And it kind of wraps up that section with a very direct question, almost a challenge, right back at you, the listener.
Yeah.
We believe in you. Do you believe in yourself, too?
Yeah, it puts the power and the responsibility right back in your hands.
Definitely.
The source also mentions some optional tools, right? Things to help make these motivation strategies stick.
Yes, exactly. Ideas for digging a bit deeper personally. Like one really valuable suggestion is identifying your own personal motivation killers.
Okay.
What specific things, situations, thoughts, feelings tend to trip you up, derail your progress? Once you know what they are, you can consciously pick a strategy from the lesson to fight back against them.
That sounds useful. Proactive.
It is. And there's also that really simple but effective mini exercise. Actually make that list of small rewards we talked about.
Right, putting it down on paper.
Yeah, makes it real. Makes it something you can actually look at when you need that little boost.
And what was that other concept? The refueling station.
The motivation refueling station checklist. Basically, a quick personal cheat sheet you can glance at.
Yeah.
It would list your why, maybe some recent successes, who your main supporters are, and a reminder of your favorite ways to recharge and find balance.
Like a little personal first aid kit for low motivation days?
Exactly that. A personalized emergency kit.
Okay. Now, alongside all this really helpful motivational advice, the source material includes something absolutely crucial that we really need to cover properly. It's labeled very clearly as an important notice.
Yes, this is vital context.
It contains some really important disclaimers from the ArztWerden team about what the course content is and maybe more importantly, what it isn't.
Essential information for anyone using these materials. You have to understand the scope. It states very clearly that the content is for general information and orientation purposes only.
Right. And it draws some very clear lines in the sand. For example, it explicitly says it is not legal advice or advice for your specific individual case.
Absolutely. Anything to do with official processes, getting your approbation, that's your medical license, or dealing with visas, contracts, administrative stuff, you can't just rely on the course.
You have to go elsewhere.
You must consult qualified legal professionals, the source stresses this, and the actual official authorities handling your case. The approbation authorities, the Ausländerbehörde, the Ärztekammer, the Chamber of Physicians. Laws are complicated. They're different in each German state, the Bundesländer, and they change all the time. Always check with the official source.
Okay, crystal clear. It's also explicitly not medical advice either.
Correct. Any medical examples or case studies you see in the course, they're purely for learning. For practicing, say, for the FSP medical German exam or the KP knowledge test or just general clinical practice skills.
They don't replace real-world medicine.
Never. They never replace your own professional judgment and responsibility when you're dealing with an actual patient. Diagnosis, treatment, assessment, the responsibility is always yours. The source reminds you. Check official guidelines, current medical literature, talk to colleagues for real patient care.
Got it. The source also mentions they can't guarantee everything is always perfectly up to date or complete.
Right. They try hard to keep things current, obviously. But laws, regulations like the Weiterbildungsordnung, the specialist training rules, medical guidelines, these things are constantly shifting. It's just not realistic to guarantee absolute minute-by-minute accuracy on every single detail.
And importantly, just using the course doesn't automatically guarantee success, does it?
No, it doesn't. The source is very clear here. The system is built to give you the best possible support for your preparation. But actually passing exams, getting a job, reaching your career goals, that depends on so many things. Your own effort, obviously, your background knowledge and experience, and, external factors that are completely outside the course's control. They can't promise you'll pass a specific exam or land a particular job.
Okay. And one last point on this. Notice something about using AI tools.
Ah, yes. If the course suggests using AI, maybe gives prompts or ideas, these are framed as experimental learning tools. The big warning is AI can mess up. You can make mistakes. It can hallucinate, generate totally wrong information.
So be careful.
Very careful. The source says, evaluate anything AI gives you critically. Use it responsibly. And never, absolutely never, put sensitive personal information or patient data into AI tools.
Okay, so the big takeaway message from this whole important notice section is really clear, isn't it?
Extremely clear.
Using the course content, any advice you get from it, any templates they provide, it's all entirely at your own risk and responsibility.
That's the bottom line. And the source hammers home again. For specific legal issues, real medical situations with patients, or complicated personal problems, you must get advice from qualified experts outside the course system.
So the course is a valuable tool, a support structure.
But it's not a substitute for professional advice where that's legally, medically, or personally necessary.
It's about knowing what the resource is great for and knowing its necessary limits.
Precisely. Understanding its role.
Okay. So we've really covered a lot. We looked at this whole journey as a marathon, needing that specific kind of endurance.
And finding your personal why is the fuel for that.
Then breaking it down into small steps, celebrating those wins to build momentum.
Yeah, and we talked about practical ways to handle the inevitable setbacks and stress analyzing, getting support, being kind to yourself, finding balance.
And underpinning it all, that message of believing in your own abilities while also, crucially, understanding the scope and limits of this course material and knowing when you need that outside expert help.
It's really a combination, isn't it? Looking at the internal strength needed, but also the external realities of the path.
So here's a final thought to maybe mull over. If getting through this whole process successfully demands both that huge personal drive, that perseverance, and a really clear-eyed view of when you absolutely need qualified external help, then maybe the truest, most sustainable source of strength isn't just found entirely within yourself. Maybe it's more about cultivating the wisdom to know exactly when and how to blend your own internal grit with seeking the right kind of external support at just the right moments. Something to think about as you put all these ideas into action.